but not Mackie and Judd.
Write this down.
This is the big leagues, where we own our terrible predictions.
Write that down.
And keep track of each other's batting averages. It's Write That Down.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
With Mackie and Judd.
Yep. We're the only group in all of sports media that has the cojones to actually keep track of our predictions, batting averages. We put our reputations on the line every single time we do this segment, boys. The pressure, really. I mean, our livelihoods are on the line every time we have a wrong prediction.
This sounds like a bad idea, actually, then.
Maybe we should stop doing the segment before our bosses find out how low our batting averages are.
Yeah, well, some of us don't have to be concerned, and some of us have to be very concerned. Let's just put it that way.
Actually, let's just say there's a lot of movement, a lot of action this week.
Ooh. I'm excited for the accountability session here.
So write that down. And by the way, we're going to get last-minute replacement here. Cooper, our friend from UMD, is going to jump in as the guest listener predictor. But this Write That Down session is powered by Federated Mutual Insurance Company. So, Federated is here preaching safe driving. We should all really be preaching safe driving. It always drives me nuts when people are reckless on the roads. 43,000 Americans died in car crashes in 2020, which even though there were fewer people on the roads, that's more than died in 2019. So there's a lot of things happening outside of our control right now, but how we drive is really not one of them. We can control how safe we are in cars. So for your safety, for the people around you, let's all remember to drive safely. The My Shield portal at federatedinsurance.com has great safe driving resources for you and also for your employees if you're a business owner out there. Federated Insurance, where it's our business to protect yours. All right, here's how it works,
Write
boys.
it down. You like writing things down.
3 predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of batting averages and home runs. And if you want to be part of the segment, you can send a DM either on Twitter or Instagram to @PhilMackey or @Dex's Tweets. And on Instagram, he's @the_Dexter if you want to be part of the action here. Should we jump right into the accountability session here? Any words from anyone before we rip the Band-Aid off?
No, I'm excited.
You should be,
excited.
actually. You should be excited.
I'm very excited.
So Judd Zulgad, who has been the Mike Trout of Write That Down, the reigning, defending batting average and home run champion.
Great run for me.
Well,
Oh, 2 wrong. Oh, that's only 2 wrong, though.
It's slipping for you,
well.
though. It's slipping for you.
Oh, we all got... No.
Speak for yourself, Mr. Zolga.
It's slipping a little bit, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be followed up by a closed clubhouse. We're going to meet. We're going to talk. Look, I am working my ass off right now on Write That Down, okay? To quote Rocco Baldelli. And I am, you know what? It's just a rough stretch right now, but it'll be fine.
Why don't you, maybe you should have Alex Colomé predict a couple for you in some low leverage prediction situations.
No, that's not how I
happens.
manage. That's not how I manage.
So you said the Vikings, you're regressing to the mean a little bit here. You said the Vikings will sign a free agent left tackle before the draft. Now, if they sign one in the next 24 hours, there's a few like before the draft things in today's session that we're going to take off the board. I don't know why they would do that before the draft at this point. And then you said the NFL will change the fumble out of the end zone rule this offseason.
I feel good about this still.
The fumbling team will no longer lose possession.
Yeah.
It is the dumbest rule in football.
I was right, though, so I feel justified.
Yeah, the NFL came out with their updated rules list, and it did not include a change in this area. It is so stupid. It is so dumb.
It doesn't make any sense.
But what would be like a loss of down though? Like what would be the other way to do it? Like you just repeat. You can't just repeat the play. Like I don't think you can just repeat the play.
No, but you don't lose possession.
Sure. No, I agree.
There's no reason to lose possession of the ball.
I mean, there's a million things you could do. I mean, could the ball go back to the 10 or something,
Sure.
or could it? Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a solution that doesn't
It's
involve
over the top.
losing the ball. Yeah,
Exactly.
All right. I had a couple things come off the board. I told you guys the Twins would score at least 7 runs in a game between last week's Write That Down and this week's. I think they did it that night.
They did.
Or that day, if I'm not
And
mistaken.
you almost said 10, which would have been
That's still
a home run.
Yeah, that's the game they lost like 13-12 or something in Oakland.
Yes.
And Alex Colomé blew the save twice.
Well, yeah. His week.
And then I said at least one of these 3 men, Zimmer, Spielman, and Cousins, would no longer be on the Vikings when the 2021 draft. Right, whoops, hit the wrong button there.
Okay.
So unless Zimmer gets, maybe there's a huge falling out over the 14th pick, and Zimmer gets canned like right before the draft.
Home run then if you get it right.
Yeah, at this point. All right, listeners had a bunch of things come off the board. So Josh, this was a bunt single for all bunt singles, Josh, but we'll give you credit. You said there will be 3 or more Dick Bramer-gasms this season, meaning like he gets really excited for a home run that isn't a home run. And I'll trust him. He's been keeping track. I've heard 2 for sure this season.
2 nights ago.
Okay.
In Cleveland, there was a Cleveland player who hit a ball into the netting foul, but it did look fair. And because Dick is watching the game on TV from here, he got really excited. He's like, "There's a home run!" Oh no, it's not.
Yeah. So he I mean, congratulations, Josh. It's correct. Okay, Cooper said, and by the way, I think this may be the same Cooper. I don't know for sure, but we'll find out in a minute, that the Wild and the Wolves would both make the playoffs in the upcoming season. Well, the Wild are going to make the playoffs. The Wolves are just running out of runway, and the Western Conference is lucky that there's not about 25 more games, okay, for this rabid winning franchise, 3 straight wins. Simon had a parlay. He said on the next TV contract, the NFL and Major League Baseball will be on ABC and the NHL will be on Fox. Well, the NHL just decided on ESPN and Turner as their broadcast partners.
Good moves.
I don't think there's room for Fox. Yeah, are you guys happy with that? You 2 puckheads?
I am.
Oh, it'd be great.
I did want the glow puck back on Fox, but I'll take this. This is fine.
Glow puck was never coming back, Declan. I'm sorry.
They're ahead of their time.
Yeah, and it sucked.
Speak for yourself.
Jared said this was a 5-league parlay for soccer, and I'll kind of sort of start at the back. International soccer. He had Bayern Munich winning Bundesliga. I believe they're leading. He had Atletico Madrid winning La Liga, Juventus winning Serie A, and Paris Saint-Germain winning Ligue 1. And I believe all of those are sort of in line to happen. However, he had Tottenham winning the English Premier League, and they are like 25 points back with about a handful of games to go. Mathematically impossible.
Didn't they fire the gaffer? Didn't Tottenham fire the gaffer?
They may have. It's been a very tumultuous season for Hotspur and Hotspur fans.
Poor Chris.
Oh, boy, look at this.
And
Look
this is
at that
one of the
week.
best weeks of the season for any of us. Declan Goff had 3 things come off the board. Number 1, you said between now and the start of the next NBA season, there will be a credible website who revisits the 2020 NBA draft, and Jaden McDaniels will be listed as a top 10 pick of the redraft. And so, theathletic.com already did this this week?
They did it 1 week after I predicted it. Yes. So,
amazing, dude. Amazing. You said the Twins will score at least 25 runs between last week and this week's Write That Down sessions. I saw you tweeting. You did the math, and this did happen.
yes, they had 12 on the Wednesday, and then I think 2, 2, 0, 2, 2, 3. So literally right at 25. Hit literally 25 runs. Thank you, Byron Buxton.
That was a grind right there.
It was.
And then you said Miguel Sano will land on the injured list this season before Byron Buxton does. Boy, they were both just limping to the...
That was a neck-and-neck race.
Yeah.
That was an exciting race between 2 horses.
A lot of 3-2 counts that I'm winding up with hits here.
And so here are the updated stats. Judd Zulgad clinging to the batting title lead with a 400 average and 1 home run. Declan's up to 372 with a league-leading 2 home runs. Listeners at 256 with no home runs. And I, Phil Mackey, have a 222 average with 1 home run. All-time stats, we've been tracking these since 2018. Judd with 156 hits and 9 home runs. I have 118 hits and 11 home runs. Listeners, 98 hits and 9 home runs, they're closing in on 100 career hits as a group. And Declan with 47 hits and 4 home runs. So there is your accountability session.
Write it down. You like writing
See,
things
Minnesota
down.
Twins, this is how you break out of a slump. Jorge Polanco, Mitch Garver, I want you to take some notes here. This is how you break out of a slump.
This is how you do it. All right, let's get our guy in here. Guest listener predictor, Cooper. What's going on, Cooper? You're hanging out in your dorm at UMD right now?
Yeah, and that previous one was me, the Wolves and Wild. Can't believe I bought into the Wolves hype there.
Well, I think you were right. The season, listen, the season got cut short. I think if the Wolves had like 40 more games, the Western Conference would be in trouble here. So
Right.
Are you skipping class to do this with us right now?
No, luckily classes ended yesterday, so I'm available to be here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so here's how this is going to work. We're going to go around the room 3 times. We'll start with Cooper, and then Judd, Declan, back to me, Phil. 3 trips around. Predictions must be quantifiable. Cooper, lead us out.
Write this down.
All right. Alex Colome will end the season with more blown saves than saves for the Twins.
No faith, you guys. It's a long season. He's been a reliable reliever.
Yep,
All right.
yep.
Cooper's onto something here.
I don't know.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Back to Judd.
I'm going to come off the top rope on this one.
Oh boy.
Alex Colome will be DFA'd by the Twins this season. He will be designated for assignment. He won't get the chance. He won't get the chance to complete the year. At some point in time before we're done here, now that doesn't mean he'll be gone for sure, because then of course if he's not claimed, but he will be designated for assignment at some point during the course of the season.
Okay.
All right. All right. Sometimes. All right. I'll save it. Okay. I'll save it. Okay, Declan.
All right. The Twins will win their next 2 series against Kansas City and Texas. KC is a 3-gamer. Texas is a 4-gamer. So I'm going to say, though, the Twins will win their next 2 series against the Kansas City Royals and Texas Rangers.
See, I just want to say, all right, Declan and I
Write it down. You like writing things down.
are going to be tracking today. I feel like sometimes people go a little too aggressive toward a trend that's happening, and I think Declan and I sense that there's going to be some trends shifting with the Twins. And so I'm going to say this about Alex Colome. Write this down. At some point in the next month, so I'll say by the end of May, just to make it easy for you, Declan. By the end of May, Alex Colome will string together at least 4 straight scoreless outings.
Okay.
So I want to tell you that he's going to get back on track. He will string together at least 4 straight scoreless outings between now and at some point between now and the end of May.
Okay.
And I'm saying scoreless in terms of runs that are attributed to him. Like if he comes in, so for instance, if he comes in with the bases loaded and Tyler Duffy has loaded the bases, and he gives up a bases clearing triple, and those 3 runs are attributed to Tyler Duffy, that counts for me.
For sure.
If he strands that runner at third base.
But if he's playing for the Saints by May 15th, that doesn't count, right?
Well,
I didn't say
So like if he's lights out for the
Saints,
Saints,
specify the team. I noticed that
DFA
too.
not claimed, and then he's with the Saints.
I am
Are we
not.
counting that?
I am not specifying a team or a league. All I'm telling you is 4 straight.
So if he
at
goes
least
to the
4 straight.
Mexican League and strings together 4 consecutive scoreless outings, he's in great shape.
Listen, man, I'm in last place in the batting average race here, so I just need to miss.
Write it down.
Just
You like
asking,
writing things
just
down.
asking questions, just friends talking.
All right, back to Cooper. Your second prediction.
All right, boys. So I gotta ask the Larry Brown prediction. That is off the board completely, right?
Yes, finally.
Judd's Larry Brown prediction is off the board. Yes.
All right. Tell me if this is illegal now, but segment's just not the same without it. So I gotta say,
Thank you.
Larry Brown will coach again.
I love it. And it'll
Larry
stay on the
Brown
board.
back.
It's back.
So
We'll coach again.
Larry Brown will coach
So
again.
he's on the clock again, either coaching or death.
He either has to coach again or die for this to come off the board.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna have to do a Larry Brown tribute show if that dude passes away at some point.
I think we might have to name the bat after him or something. We give out at the end of the year. We'll have to just name it the Larry
we've
Brown
lost
Award.
the bat,
or
but yeah, we
one
can have
prediction
something.
that was the longest lasting prediction of the year or something. We'll do something where the Larry Brown Award goes.
I love
Write
it.
it down. You like writing things down.
Cooper keeping the dream alive. All right, back to Judd.
All right, continuing on the thread with my Twins doom and gloom because it's all falling apart. The Twins will make a change at hitting coach this season. They will fire the hitting coach. His name is Edgar, is it Varela? V-A-R-E-L-A?
Not going to work here anymore.
He will be because the move du jour in baseball in 2021 is not to fire immediately the pitching coach or manager. It's the hitting coach. So I think that with the Twins' offensive woes, the hitting coach will pay the price and be fired.
Is there a better and more sort of, I guess is there a more irrelevant scapegoat in sports firings than firing the hitting or pitching coach of a baseball team?
You know, I think the pitching coach is a better guy to fire if you don't like that end of things. But I think you're right. I think when you it's always the default, right? The Cubs, I think, have done it. The Mets, Yankees, the offense ain't going well. What should we do? Let's fire the hitting coach.
Yeah, and it's an easy way to buy like 30 free days of the media and fans getting off your back. Like, okay, we got to give the new hitting coach some time to work with these guys. All right.
True.
Okay.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Put the pitchforks down for a second. Okay, Declan.
All right. Byron Buxton will be top 5 in the American League in home runs by the All-Star break. So right now, Byron leading the MLB, I believe, in home runs right now. He has 7, or at least is pacing the American League. But Byron Buxton will be top 5 in the American League in home runs by the All-Star break.
So he will continue his power surge. Yeah, him and Cruz both have 7 on the season. Let's see if there's a home run.
I think there's like everyone on the Reds right now is like leading the National League. It seems like they're just hitting a ton of bombs. So I'm just going to go with the American League. I didn't want to go with all.
So you're saying American League. League. Okay.
Yep, I've written down.
Just to officially get the standings here, it looks like there's some guys in the National League that are hitting bombs. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Acuna, Hoskins, and Ryan McMahon from Colorado all have 8. And then there's like 10 guys with 7 home runs, including Nelson Cruz and Byron Buxton. So he's right in there, one off the
Write it down. You like writing things down.
major league lead. Okay, another Twins prediction. Write this down. The Twins will play 500 baseball or better between now and next week's. Write that down. So they will play 500 baseball. I think they have 6 games, something like that. So
that's right.
They'll go 3-3 or better. They'll play 500 baseball or better between now and next week's. Write that down. And by the way, I don't want to say 3-3 because if a game gets rained out, so just 500 baseball or better between now and next week's. Write that down. All right.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Back to Cooper. Your final prediction.
All right, I'm going to go specific draft prediction for the Vikings here. Fields will be available at 14. The Vikings will trade back with the Saints and take defensive end Jason Owa from Penn State at 28, I think it is.
Wow. Okay, so you're saying say that again. Just let me get that in my head.
So Fields will be on the board at 14 when the Vikings come up. They will trade back to 28 with the Saints, who will then take Justin Fields, and the Vikings will, at 28, draft Jason Owa out of Penn State, defensive end.
Wow.
That is good.
That is a home run.
Huge shot.
I'm curious if that does happen, what draft picks do the Saints have here in 2021? So they would have, because to move up that many spots would be a haul.
Right.
So they've got the 60th. They've got a second round pick. They've got 2 third-round picks. I would think for that to happen, the Saints would have to give up next year's first and probably this year's second.
Got to get a second.
To move up 14 spots in the first round,
Didn't Peyton trade away like a huge part of their draft last year? I felt like they traded away a huge portion for like a third round pick or something.
Well, so
it does make sense that they would give you a lot.
They currently have a first, second, third, fourth, no fifth, a sixth, and 2 sevenths. So they're pretty stocked. They've got plenty of draft picks. I like that one. Cooper, since you're sitting here and you've got this life-changing platform right now, is there anyone in your life you'd like to thank?
Yeah, this part's always weird. Some people either make a joke or go on to thank their entire family they've ever known. So I guess I'll just thank you guys for providing content every day. It's great to listen to. So thanks to you guys.
We appreciate it. And if you want to come on again and thank your entire family next time, you're
some
one
third
of our
cousins or
favorite
something.
predictors. Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
that's Cooper hanging out in his dorm at UMD here. All right, Judd, your third prediction.
Write this down.
Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov will get votes for the NHL's Hart Trophy as league MVP.
Wow, dude.
He will get votes. I'm not saying he's going to win, and I'm not saying how many, to be very clear. But he's going to get votes for the Hart Trophy.
What are they? What's on the ballot? Is it 10? You get to vote for 10
it's like
players?
10 names.
I think it's 10,
Yeah.
Usually.
So he's going to get votes. I think he has to.
Yeah, I could see him show. Sometimes people misconstrue it like that he'd be getting a first place vote. No, he could easily get a 9th place vote. Or
exactly.
Something.
I don't care where the votes are. He's just going to fall on the ballot.
Last year, there was a lot of guys tied here. It was more than 9.
Okay.
There's probably
I feel
at
very
least
safe.
a dozen or so on here that got
I
votes.
feel very safe that this is going to be a hit.
JT Miller of the Canucks last year got a Hart Trophy vote. So, yes, I believe Kirill Kaprizov should get one. I like that one.
Cool. All right, Dex.
Write that down.
I have a Minnesota Wild one. It's kind of a bunt single, but I don't really care. The Minnesota Wild will not require a Game 7 in their first round playoff series. So the Minnesota Wild will not require a Game 7 in their first round playoff series.
So win or lose.
Yeah, win or lose.
It just won't go
they
7.
They will not go 7. They will not require
Gotcha.
a Game 7 in the first round of their playoff series.
Okay. All right. I hope there's a Game 7. I love Game 7.
I want a Game
You're
7.
the whisperer of Game 7.
I want a game.
Phil.
Yeah, Mr. Puck here.
Nino Niederreiter will score the winning goal.
All right, final prediction here. I'm going to continue my optimism, and maybe this is pessimism, depending on which way you're looking at it. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, who've won 3 straight games for the first time all year, they are 19-44 on the season. Write this down: the Timberwolves will not finish the season with one of the 3 worst records in the NBA. And why that's significant? The NBA lottery is different now than it was about 5 years ago. The top 3 worst teams have the same percentage at the top of the ping pong table. And so for them to have the best percentage chance to keep their top 3 protected pick, it's a 40% chance to keep the pick if they have one of the 3 worst records. But they're so hot. They're so good right now, and they're beating the Jazz, and Houston was tanking last night. I think they're going to emerge out of the bottom 3, and they will have a lower percentage. They'll have like a 36% chance or something to keep that pick, but we will see this nucleus gelling, and so we won't be quite as devastated by it.
Oh, I still will be. Oh, yeah, no.
So
I'll
how
be
about
very
this?
upset, Phil.
Tankathon.com has all these different trends of like the worst teams in the NBA. So the last 10 game, the record of in the last 10 games for the worst teams in the NBA. Houston 1-9, Orlando 1-9, Oklahoma City 1-9, Wolves 6-4, Cleveland 2-8, Toronto 3-7, or I'm sorry, Sacramento 3-7. So all these teams are doing a great job of tanking, and the Wolves are throttling down at the right or wrong time potentially.
The Rockets were not going to win that game if it was the last thing that the Rockets did last night.
Yeah.
Like they were just
they
like,
had
we're
the
not
lead
winning.
in the third, and they were like, "Oh my god, we got to get rid of this lead. This is not working for us." So, all right, write that down. Predictions also presented in part by our friends at Dennis Kirk and DennisKirk.com, and that's actually Dennis Kirk's been powering our Twins discussions too, which we might have to put on hold until they win a game. I mean, they need to be put on timeout at some point. If
we had a team meeting yesterday. What do you mean?
Yeah, we'll get into that here in a second. So Dennis Kirk is the top supplier in terms of if you're riding a Harley, a sport bike, a sport bike, or a metric cruiser, you'll find what you need at DennisKirk.com. 160,000 parts and accessories in stock, clothing and helmets as well. Order before 8 p.m. and they ship the same day, plus shipping is free on orders over $89. The best in the business, DennisKirk.com. Everything you need for your ride at DennisKirk.com. I mean, what is even left to say about this Twins team right now? Alex Colomé, my favorite thing off yesterday, I know that they were losing in the 8th inning anyways, but it was a 1-run game. Correct me if I'm wrong. When they brought Alex Colomé in, and then he implodes once again, and before the game, Rocco Baldelli literally said, we're going to scale his work back. He's only going to pitch in low-leverage situations. Okay, he's in a 1-run game in the 8th inning? I know that it was the bottom of the lineup, but like, why? What's the disconnect with Rocco right now? Why is he saying before the game, hey, we're going to protect this guy. We're just going to scale him back here, get him right. And then he throws him back out there in the 8th inning of a 1-run game. Explain that to me.
This is why the Twins, to me, very much are interesting still to talk about because it makes no sense. Because this is weird. Like, if the Twins just stunk, and they had stunk for a while, then yes, I agree. I'm done. I don't care at that point in time. But Phil, this is like the disintegration of like what's going on here. What is the disconnect with? I'm sorry, but I still come back to Rocco forgetting 2 games ago the amount of times that his team had been out to the mound and he has to take out a pitcher he didn't want to take out. Stating that, Colomé's been a disaster, okay? Ordinarily, when you've been a disaster, which means you basically, he can't throw strikes. He cannot consistently throw strikes. Ordinarily, you take that guy to the bullpen, right? I think. And you work with him and you try and get him back. And then you bring him in, let's say, the 6th of a game on Friday night. Not immediately come back last night and pitch him in a, to your point, 1-run game. So I think that this team right now, as discouraging as the record is and as their play is very intriguing to talk about. Because for the life of me, I can't figure out what's going on here. And Rocco post-game talks to the team, and he comes out and talks about it. And Phil, he makes it sound like, oh man, I mean, they're trying really hard. But I mean, it's just a very bizarre thing.
Yeah, we had actually had the clip of it.
I have to acknowledge for our group, these guys have been busting their ass, and the way we've been losing games, just the feel out there on the field is very tough. It's very tough to handle. It's very tough on a group. I don't want to dismiss that when we're talking to our players. They're the ones going through it out there on the field every single night, and it has not been easy in any way.
It's all very bizarre to me.
Yeah, I'm torn between a few things here. I think the biggest thing I'm curious about is how a team that was so ridiculously good offensively 2 years ago, and it's not like, you know, they lost Eddie Rosario, but since then they've added Josh Donaldson. Alex Kirilloff is new to the lineup, so we'll see how his bat plays, but he's got a couple hits now, so he's making some contact, and I think he's going to figure it out.
Sure.
But how does a lineup that on paper is basically the same as it was 2 years ago look so inept? And it's not just the first month of this season too. There were stretches last year where they couldn't score runs, and they weren't a great offense last year either, right? Mm-hmm. What's different? I know that the ball's different. What's different? And their hitting coach is different. Are those two things enough to make them just a putrid, inept offense outside of the 3 hitters that are performing well, or maybe 4 this season? You know, they literally have gone from one of the most prolific offenses in Major League history to being unable to score a run in extra innings when you start with a runner on second base 5 times.
Yes, and
small sample size. I get it, but.
And Phil, they have guys who look lost. Mm-hmm. They're not slumping. I mean, at some point in time, we have to stop saying, well, we all know that Garver can hit. Do we really? He had one good year, and he's a disaster. Ryan Jeffers is an out. He is a disaster. Miguel Sano was hitting 111, and we were celebrating the fact he was walking a lot. Is that what we really want? Is that the Minnesota takeaway? Well, he's turned into an on-base machine. I don't care. He can no longer hit the baseball consistently. And the scary thing about this is what you said. There are some guys who are going really well. Byron Buxton is tearing it up, and it doesn't matter. But what's weird about, let's go back and just dissect a little bit what Rocco said. Didn't it sound weird to you? Like, it's almost like he's like, well, I mean, they're working hard and we're losing games. And okay, I get the fact that you've lost tough games, but I know exactly why. I know who's struggling. I know that Rocco's had really bad games and his decisions have turned out to be flawed. Like, I can identify, I could go in and talk to that team right now and say, you're working hard, but it ain't working, and here's why.
Yeah.
And he almost makes it sound like, well, they're working really hard, and I mean, it's gut-wrenching, and, well, yeah, but there's a very specific reason why these things are defeats.
Here's what I worry about a little bit with Rocco, and that it's not that hard to be a front-running manager. Like, when you have a great team, and they get off to a great start, and you're going to have some ebbs and flows throughout a season, but you get off to a great start, and you're mostly out in front in the division, and the bats are mostly hot, and Maeda starts the season great last year, right? You can be the chill, all right, we're going to make everyone comfortable manager, right? We're going to no batting practice before day games. I just want to make sure we don't upset the apple cart here because things are working out really well. But the reality is, in baseball, sometimes you get off to bad starts or you have clubhouse turmoil, and I'm just speculating on this. It's my personal belief that there's some things happening behind the scenes in terms of Like the Twins were one of the teams that didn't reach the 85% vaccine threshold, which would have loosened COVID protocols, meaning like you can go out to bars or you can walk around without a mask. I don't know what all the protocols are, but like they're loosened for some teams. That I think about in your workplace, if you had a split, and I'm not even like, forget about taking sides. If you had a philosophical split on something that affected the life and the lifestyles of everyone around you, right? There'd be some, I sense that there's tension. Like when Alex Kirilloff a couple times in his like second or third major league game, like he'd hit a fly ball to deep outfield and he'd walk back to the dugout. And I'm thinking, ordinarily a young, good player makes good contact and just misses a home run. There'd be 6 or 7 guys waiting for him in the dugout to give him high fives and to say, hey, dude, you're on it. It's all good. Like, you got this. And he just walks in the dugout and no one's paying any attention. Stuff like that where there's just no life. There's no, and I get that some of that stuff's hard to quantify, but it feels like something is off. And you've been saying it for a while here with this team. And it's going to take the manager to turn that thing around. I don't buy that this team is all in, cohesive, they're all on the same page, and they're just getting unlucky. I don't buy that. I don't think they're just getting unlucky. I think it goes beyond just like getting off to a bad start and being unlucky. And it's up to the manager to help navigate the group through the choppy, turbulent waters. And I don't know that he's had to do that ever in his career. Like this is the first time that we're going to find out, can you get this group all on the same page, feeling good about itself, chemistry, everything, and win some series.
But then the starting point for what you're saying is, how do you bring in Colomé last night? Like you're desperately trying to get him to feel good about himself, and just as importantly, probably the team restore confidence with the team in him. And as far as I'm concerned, because he can't throw strikes, you put him in a position to solidly fail. Why would you do that? Like he's not Rocco's not dumb. He didn't just get dumb. That's what I don't get about this.
And especially on back-to-back, especially on back-to-back days too. Like he pitched the night before, so he's already he threw a boatload of pitches the night before. And guys like, look, and I'm splitting hairs a little bit. Like Randy Dobnak hasn't pitched in 5 days. Like he hasn't thrown a ball in 5 days. It is a 1-run game. Yeah. I get it, you're still within reach. But wouldn't you want to go to someone who's more fresh and someone who had just threw a bunch of pitches the night before and completely melted down? He went 20+ innings without even allowing a ball in play. I mean, I know, and the umpire was a disaster in Cleveland all series. All the umps have been especially bad this year, I feel like, even worse than normal. But he didn't even put a ball in play. He couldn't find the zone at all, and he puts his shoulders up on the one he walks in like, what? Come on. It's like, dude, no. Like, you deserved what you got right there. It was bad.
Point of clarification, he actually didn't throw any pitches really on April 26th because the game ended so quickly. He threw 3 pitches the night before because it was bang. It was 2 nights ago. It was bang bang, and not that, but I'm with Declan. He came out, he pitched, he imploded again, even though he only threw 3 pitches. And then the manager comes out right before last night's game and says, all right, we're going to scale this dude back. He's not going to pitch in these types of games anymore. So in Rocco's mind, is a 1-run game in the 8th inning a low-leverage situation because it's the bottom of Cleveland's order? I mean, what are you doing?
Right.
Colomé shouldn't pitch for like 3 days after what happened 2 nights ago. And the next time he pitches, it should be a 7-1 game.
Yes.
That's what he should be doing. And
early, preferably.
Yeah.
Not the 9th. Mm-hmm. Not the 8th. Earlier than that. That's what I don't get. And the Colomé thing to me, guys, is very weird because of this as well. I still can't get past, as bad as the whole thing against the A's was a week ago Wednesday, I can't get past the fact that he was allowed to throw 49 pitches. That is so un-Rocco.
That is over 2 innings, struggling, nibbling. Yeah, I would
love to sit down with Rocco and get the honest thought process and explanation for how, like, you run to the mound to lift guys who have thrown starters who have thrown 85 pitches, and you know what? I might not agree with that, but that's sort of who you are. So, like, I don't agree with it, but I get it. But how is Alex Colomé throwing 49 pitches?
One thing, too, because I know I got this I was tweeting about Colomé yesterday, and a couple people were like, "Why does it?" I mean, they were down by. They needed to score runs to win the game anyways, and they didn't. So why are you even talking about Colomé? Because this all goes back to process. What are they thinking? What are they doing? What buttons is Rocco pushing? Two things. Number one, it's a lot easier to win a game when you're only down by 1 going into the last inning as opposed to 3. And so your goal, just because you're trailing by 1 run or trailing by any number of runs, doesn't mean that you're punting, right? Like your goal in that spot is to keep it a 1-run game so that one of your thumpers can hit a ball over the fence and send the game to extra innings.
Yeah.
So putting out your most beleaguered reliever in that spot is asking for a crooked number to pop up on the board, and now the game's even more out of reach. And then number 2, it's just I'm looking for things that make sense when it comes to Rocco and the management of the team and the lineups and the roster, and there's just been a lot of things that don't make sense. And sometimes I think we're too hard on managers and bullpen decisions because there's a lot that goes into it. You're trying to manage over the course of 162 games, and so there's going to be guys that you might rest on a certain day, or late in the season you might run a guy out there for back-to-back games or something. There's some stuff that they know that we don't, that you have to take into consideration. But what everybody knows is that Alex Colomé is garbage right now.
Yes.
And should not be pitching in a 1-run game in the 8th. And so why is he? I can see if it's the 15th inning and he's your last guy, all right, we got to run Colomé back out there. But right now, to put him out there in a 1-run game in the 8th is borderline fireable. Borderline fireable. It doesn't make any sense.
So I've got one more thing, too. And this goes above Rocco to Falvey, Levine, and a favorite word of mine, hubris, okay? Do you know how we all said, this bullpen thing seems a bit odd right now? This bullpen thing. Tyler Clippard, see you later. It's been a fun year. Who, by the way, I really liked. Like, he wasn't great, but I really liked him. And I thought he was a stabilizing force out there. Mm-hmm. Whistler. You guys did a hell of a job with Whistler. Nice job. I mean, I'm sure he's coming back, right? No, hell no. He's gone, too. Now, may I get, because he got paid, okay? May I get...
He got paid a lot of money, yeah.
And Romo, to me, was a shelf life guy.
Yep. Agreed.
But okay, so May gets paid, Sergio's gone. All right, I get that. But you know what, Phil? Bringing back Whistler and Clippard would not have been that tough. And just to be like, those guys were fine, but we can replace them. It strikes me as a hubris about your ability to find pitching. When you've done a really good job, I thought, of chemistry out there for the most part and of finding pitchers in your bullpen. And now you're just like, well, we'll just get more. I mean, you can't go to a garage sale and find arms. And it's almost like that they think that they can. And I think that's a problem, too.
I hear your point. I will say on both Matt Whistler and Tyler Clippard, those guys would not be helping the Twins. Clippard's out with a sprained right shoulder since the middle of spring training. Mm-hmm. And Matt Whistler has given up 9 earned runs in 8 innings for the Giants so far this year. So those guys, I hear your broader point. But yeah.
My broader point is they found something there and did a really nice job. And then they're just like, we'll replace them.
We can kind of do it again with anybody.
Yeah, and I don't think that's probably true.
Yeah. I think there's another discussion. Maybe we can do this on Talking Twins tomorrow, but I think there's another discussion to be had about they've been here for a handful of years, and by and large, this front office has turned this franchise into a regular season winner. And I think this current team is going to bounce back. Whether they can make up all the ground and make the playoffs remains to be seen. Mm-hmm. But where is the young nucleus? There's a smattering of it, right? There's Byron Buxton and Luis Arraez has been good, but
and I don't know
up and down the
Buxton's
roster, where is the nucleus here that has been even on the pitching side? Most of their pitching, besides Jose Barrios, it's all outside veteran acquisitions, right? I mean, the rest of the rotation is, you could say Tyler Duffy, Taylor Rogers, but it's interesting, the roster makeup. Let's save that conversation for tomorrow, though.
Sure.
Because we got to run here and talk to Patrick Royce and also get to our Purple Daily show for the day, too, which you can check out. Daily Vikings Entertainment, Purple Daily Podcast, and Purple Daily YouTube channel, where we will be live during the draft, the first round, tomorrow night. Check us out. We thank you however you consume us. If you're looking for the best possible ways, all of our content available in one central hub on scorenorth.com and the SKOR North app, which is free to download. See you guys tomorrow.